Good evening and welcome to a program devoted entirely to Lefties Losing It. And I regret to inform you that the weapon-grade crazy is extra toxic this week because two deranged individuals have come together to spew insane lies. It's Leftie Losing It Hall of Famer Rosie O'Donnell and former CNN Chief White House correspondent Jim Acosta. They are now reduced to this. Let's start with Mad Banshee Rosie's crazy claims about who else but Donald Trump.
He paid $1 billion to Jeffrey Epstein over the time of their friendship. $1 billion. You know, before he brings more troops into Chicago and harasses brown-skinned people, before he breaks more of the Constitution apart, before he starts having people get killed, we have to do something, America.
Yeah.
And it's
I agree.
He agrees. Jim Acosta agrees. What is she suggesting there, Jim? More acts of violence, more riots, more assassination attempts? And let's not forget, Jim Acosta served as CNN's chief White House correspondent for years. But even he flinches here when Rosie calls the US president a pedophile. This is incredible. And Rosie, I hope for your sake, Donald Trump doesn't sue you for this slander, though you richly deserve it.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up. Our president is a serial pedophile rapist, and that's what he is. And in America, you're allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to say what you think. That's what our country was founded on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, dear Rosie, you are entitled to an opinion, but you're not entitled to spew your sick, delusional fantasies when they involve defamation. There are legal remedies for that. Now to a current CNN anchor, Abby Phillips, who is schooled here about Social Security by Ben Shapiro. This is embarrassing.
When you're talking about, hold on, when you're talking about the government paying, you're talking about Social Security,
Yes.
which is people's money.
Well, it is. Well, it is not the money you paid in.
It's the system that they pay into.
Well, no,
you're never paycheck stub.
Okay. Yes, but believe me, I pay a lot.
I know I pay into Social Security. I don't know about
I promise you, the amount that people are taking out is not the amount that is going in, which is why we are going bankrupt.
Okay, but it's not the government just handing out a blank check.
No, it's the government borrowing money to pay. Well, you pay in X dollars, and then you get multiple times X dollars when you retire. That is how the system works. It is not a lockbox.
Now to another former CNN anchor who's now producing their own online content, Don Lemon. Here he is with Democrat beta boy Harry Sisson, and they're coming to save democracy. While we're on Don Lemon, did he put his foot in it with Democrat Sarah McBride, who is a man who identifies as a woman?
This is my car. I'm heading back to Delaware.
It is, dude. Do you have a Hemi in here? What is it?
This is a beautiful Chevy Equinox, American made.
You got a whole closet back there.
Dude, uh-oh, that's a misgender if I ever heard one. Straight to re-education camp for you, Don. And sticking with Don, he is out there trying to save democracy, he calls it, trying to whip up fear about Trump's law and order crackdown. But here a Maryland woman explains what happened to her family because of the lawlessness that's happening in big cities.
My husband was murdered 2 years ago, and nothing was ever done.
Murder where? At home?
Right out in front of her house.
Sorry.
It was a carjacking gone wrong, and they shot him in his head. Killed him instantly, so. But again, our lovely mayor didn't do nothing.
Did they ever find the perpetrator?
Nope.
So you want to see it?
Yes, I want justice.
You want justice, and you would like to see the troops here in the National Guard?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Poor Don is not having much luck on the street. Here he is in New York City.
How you doing, sir? Good. Can we talk to you? Where are you from? You live in New York?
Who are you?
Don Lemon.
You're a moron, dude.
Thank you. So are you.
Yeah, oh, that's very nice of you
yeah,
to say.
nice to see you.
Except you've never heard anything I've had to say, and I've heard a whole bunch of what you've
I'm glad
had to
you watched
say.
me.
No, I don't.
Why?
But you just get clipped everywhere.
I know, but why don't you? You said you don't watch me, but yet you know who I am, and I get clipped.
Before I realized that CNN and MSNBC were full of shit, every once in a while I'd see
What do you watch?
talking. I watch all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but why do you say CNN and MSNBC are full of shit?
Because they lie.
But about what? Be
Everything.
specific. What's everything?
Everything.
Now imagine you are in the great outdoors, enjoying the fresh air, enjoying the scenery, taking your dogs for a walk when this happens.
You didn't adopt them. You didn't save their lives. You don't care about them. You don't care about anyone but yourself.
You are crazy, lady.
Get away from me then. Get away from me.
You walked up to me.
Oh dear, all that because that poor guy had purebred dogs. So she was triggered because they weren't adopted, she assumed. Now, if you thought that woman had exhausted her reserves of crazy and indignant rage, well, you'd be wrong. So wrong.
Who are you talking to?
Help me! Help me, please! Please get this guy away from me!
Touch me, I will knock you out. You attack me, I have a right to defend myself.
Okay, listen. Get away from me now. This guy is harassing me. Look at his bred dogs. Look at what an unethical piece of this guy.
That's his mom.
He has to have bred dogs because he has a small penis.
You know, when people act that crazy, act that weird, one assumes that they're on something. Kind of how I felt when I saw this resurfaced vision of California Governor Gavin Newsom.
I've been on a journey like most people, feeling great, feeling stressed, feeling doubtful. The last 2 days, I don't know what it is. I think it's maybe the dust settling after Madison Square Garden. Seen how that went, kind of a roller coaster. But something's happened the last few days, and I'm telling you, that Des Moines Register poll and young men, where Trump has put so much time and energy and this sort of bro culture, pocket, everything else, they don't vote at those numbers. And I think suburban women generally, and I think it's reflected perhaps in that poll, there's something going on.
There was something going on, all right. Good Lord, dude, take it easy on the disco treats, as the kids say. Now, somehow we overlooked this charmer earlier in the year. Here is a lefty lady losing it because a Christian preacher dared to hold and share views she disagreed with.
You piss me the off. Okay. You don't belong here. This hateful doesn't belong here. And all of y'all that believe this, get your heads on straight. You are reason why we are falling apart as a country.
Gotcha.
And I don't want to hear, oh, do you know the percentage of that happens every fucking day?
Didn't.
I don't want that.
Doesn't matter. You came to me. We're in a public area.
Okay, so should I break the camera then?
Give me a break.
They always resort to violence or threats of violence, don't they? Let's give this lovely lass another chance, though. I'm sure she can make an argument without resorting to threats and violence. Here she tells a Christian preacher he's not really Christian because he's against abortion.
And I have no problem with Christians that actually act like Christians. That's not acting like
How have I not been acting like a Christian? You've been coming here yelling at me.
Because you're anti-abortion, for one.
Right.
It has nothing to do with you. Are you a woman?
No, I'm not.
Do you have a...
But in 2025, I could identify as it. You wouldn't be able to tell me otherwise.
Oh, so you're anti-trans, too?
Says who?
You just told me that.
Anyways, I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to ignore it. You want to go to jail?
Time to check in with Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who is, for some reason, dressed like Prince here, and she wants you to know that she is a very serious lawmaker, but she's also ready to throw hands.
I want y'all to know that every day that I walk in those halls, regardless of whatever rhetoric they put out about me, I am a very serious lawmaker. At the same time, if you try me, you will find out. I just want to be clear about that because I am truly a black woman at the same time.
Here, Jasmine shows us what a serious thinker she is. She says this out loud on television, that law enforcement isn't there to prevent crimes. It's hard to fathom how idiotic this is, but it's Jasmine.
Law enforcement isn't to prevent crime. Law enforcement solves crime, okay? That is what they are supposed to do. They are supposed to solve crimes, not necessarily prevent them from happening, per se.
Now, last night we spoke about the media's shameful silence on a horrific murder in North Carolina because it does not fit their preferred narratives. The brutal murder of a young Ukrainian woman would have never been properly exposed if not for platforms like X. And that has upset the likes of CNN potato Brian Stelter. He appears more horrified by the outrage about this murder than the crime itself.
The energy from pro-Trump activists. They picked up on this video from local news and ran with it. It's a little bit like the times when civil rights groups have raised attention about police-involved shootings. In this case, it is Trump-aligned influencers who are posting up a storm about this case on social media. Really, over the weekend, Elon Musk, Charlie Kurk, other Trump-aligned figures succeeded in making this senseless death a symbol of big city crime. And it's being used, as you said, Brianna, as a political symbol, with MAGA media calling for more forceful punishments and more incarceration. I have to say, some of the replies to Musk, some of the comments around this story are baldly racist, stoking fear of African Americans because this man attacked a white woman. The open racism on sites like X today, it's eye-popping.
And we're going to have some shameful antics from CNN shortly. You will not believe how low they have sunk. But let's start tonight with the leader of the free world facing down demented protesters ruining everyone's dinner. President Trump was at Joe's Stone Crab in D.C. to enjoy a meal with VP J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio was there, Pete Hegseth.
Thank you. We have a safe city now. Great job.
But it wasn't long until the usual suspects were ruining everyone's delicious crab meals with their crazed screeching about freeing DC, freeing Palestine, and they were also calling President Trump Hitler. Watch the president walk towards them as they made spectacles of themselves, now international spectacles.
Enjoy your dinner.
Now, here is a hint for the diabolically dumb women in that clip. If Trump was Hitler, if he was a modern-day dictator, you would never be seen again. You think you can scream insults to, I don't know, Xi Jinping or Kim Jong-un? If you did, you'd be in a Labour camp or dead in quick time. Now to a delightful clash between Tucker Carlson and billionaire and dimwit Mark Cuban. Yes, he's both. Unusual combination, I know. Here they are discussing funding for Ukraine.
Half my family's Ukrainian from my grandparents. And so, you know, personally, I think we should help. But I don't have a studied answer for you.
How much money have you sent to Ukraine?
None.
Oh, so what do you mean by we? You're the one whose family's from Ukraine. Like, why don't you send them $1 billion?
Because I'm trying to fix health care.
Well, why don't you fix their health care if you're like so deep? If you think we need to help, why don't you start? How about you first? Yeah. I notice that's never like even an option for anybody. It's like, we need to help. That's not what charity is. Forcing other people to help is not charity.
Here's the good
vanity.
news.
Love that. We need more Carlson v. Cuban content in our lives. Now to another clash, but this one was very much one-sided, despite the best efforts of MSNBC host Mika Brzezinski. Watch how border czar Tom Homan demolishes her ridiculous claims and calls out her earlier misleading coverage of ICE operations.
I see on the show this morning you have Governor Healy talking about ICE doing enforcement operations at a church. False. Didn't happen.
They were parked there. They did not do an operation there. She said they were parked in a public space legally.
But to say that and to push that out there puts fear in the immigrant community. So let me tell you what's happening.
To do that puts fear in the community. Right. To park the ICE agent's vehicle
they're on a
near
public
a church.
Street.
They
they're
are
on a public street.
She said
they're on a public street
sir.
waiting to respond to a criminal alien release pulled aside the road. Let me tell you, in the last couple of days, what's happened in Boston. They've arrested Victor Gomez Perez, a 33-year-old criminal alien from Guatemala, with charges of aggravated rape, assault and battery with dangerous weapon, indecent assault and battery on a victim 14 years or younger. They arrested Kaylee Espinosa, a 33-year-old criminal alien from Colombia, with charges of aggravated assault on a pregnant victim. They arrested Joshua Gonzalez, a 24-year-old criminal alien from Dominican Republic, with charges for trafficking heroin, morphine, opium, resisting police, disorderly conduct, and drug distribution. They also arrested Samuel Armando Barrero, a 20-year-old criminal illegal alien from Guatemala, pending charges for assault and battery on a child. This past year, I've seen innocent Americans raped and murdered by people who are not supposed to be here. So rather than going back and forth and say, well, ICE has got a car parked near a church, that is ridiculous.
Ridiculous indeed. But Mika was not done yet. Having hit rock bottom, she decided to start digging.
I would argue that actually the ICE vehicle parked outside a Spanish mass is a frightening sight, given what has happened in this country. I also, with respect, sir, thank you for the information that you have shared on this show, but we would appreciate all of the information. All of it, all of the data that you say you have.
I've done this show several times. Every time on your show, I speak with integrity, I speak with honesty, and I speak with facts. The bottom line is, because of all this false narrative, and you using the term disappearing people,
well,
is
that's
disgusting.
What's happened. That happened to the group that was sent to El Salvador.
She is determined to make a monumental fool of herself by repeating these debunked Democrat talking points. Even some Democrats, the sensible ones, have stopped making these claims, but not Mika and not MSNBC. They are going down with the ship.
Why a lot of these people have been disappeared. You say you have data. We would love to see it. The American people should see this data.
Well, here's the rhetoric again, right? You just meant disappeared. That is a ridiculous thing to say.
Why?
Because ICE is doing the same thing we've done for decades. But because of the last 4 years, ICE wasn't allowed to enforce the law. But we're doing the same thing right now that we did when I started back in 1984. ICE agents are enforcing the laws enacted by Congress.
Now to CNN disgracing itself again by accusing Donald Trump of seizing on the murder of a young Ukrainian woman, a murder they had refused to cover until now.
Ukrainian refugees' murder caught on camera. It is absolutely horrific. Trump is now seizing on this to push his nationwide crackdown.
And it gets worse. Have a listen to what CNN anchor Abby Phillip had to say. She seems to be more mad at Charlie Kurk for bringing attention to this sickening crime than the barbaric thug who killed an innocent woman.
When you are mentally ill, you have a hard time knowing that you are mentally ill. But also, I mean, people like Charlie Kurk, they've been looking for opportunities to make this some sort of like reciprocal George Floyd situation. And that's the part that I think he's almost giving away the game. And it's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
You know what? I'm almost speechless. Comparing that poor innocent woman to George Floyd is bad enough, but get ready to be truly disgusted. Here is Van Jones.
We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kurk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering, it's wrong. Then he says that if something like that had happened the other way, there would be sweeping changes imposed on society. Where is the George Floyd Policing Act? It didn't pass.
Well, no evidence except the killer saying, I got the white girl, and the fact that he was seated with 5 others around him who he didn't attack, who all happened to be black, but he targeted Iryna pretty much as soon as she sat down in front of him. All of this had White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt fuming when she addressed the media earlier today.
Iryna Zarutska was stabbed to death on the rail system in Charlotte, North Carolina, by a savage career criminal. The most enraging and unacceptable part of this story is that her death was entirely preventable. DeCarlos Brown never should have been on that train that night. In fact, he should have been behind bars. Previously served 5 years in prison for a robbery with a deadly weapon charge, and he had also forfeited bonds 3 different times, twice in 2014 and once in 2023. Despite all of this past documented criminal history, when Brown was arrested yet again in January of this past year, a Democrat judge, who I will add was a strong supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris, released this insane criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail. He simply had to sign a written promise to return for his court hearing. Think about how crazy it is to ask a career criminal, someone who by definition repeatedly breaks the law, to just sign a written promise and come back again another day. This is madness.
And Caroline Leavitt had a message for those in the media who had refused to cover this shocking murder.
And perhaps most shamefully of all, the majority of the media Many outlets in this room decided that her murder was not worth reporting on originally because it does not fit a preferred narrative. Many of the journalists in this room spilled plenty of ink trying to smear Daniel Penny for defending a subway car from a deranged lunatic in New York City, but none of those same reporters lift a finger to write stories about an actual murderer. Here's the truth that every American must know. Too many innocent people across the country continue to pay the price of the failed experiment known as cashless bail.
Tonight's edition of Lefties will feature some of the ugliness, some of the utter depravity that has followed the murder of Charlie Kurk, a thoroughly decent, principled man brutally murdered today, and the soulless ghouls of the left were quick to celebrate.
There are a lot of people that are like, no matter what side of politics you're on, you should never celebrate something bad happening to someone. I, on the other hand, do cheer when bad things happen to bad people.
Charlie Kurk just got shot.
Well, breaking news, folks. Seems somebody just took a shot at one of the Fantafast's favorite 5-mile-wide mouthpieces, Charles Chuckle Kirk.
And sadly, the vile left has not been shy about showcasing their ugliness, their utter callous depravity. This is what leftism does to your mind and soul.
Charlie Kurk got shot and killed. How do you feel?
Happy. Goodbye.
Wow. Did you see that Charlie Kurk just got shot and killed?
That's good.
Wow. That's good. That's good that people are getting shot just off a political view?
Charlie Kurk gets shot and killed today. We're just getting people's opinions. How do you feel about that?
Girl, someone had to do it. And that's how I feel at this point in time. But
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty. I truly do. So you said someone had to do it.
yes. Try not to get all pulled up into that, but he was a misogynist. He was a disgusting person with disgusting beliefs.
Enough of that trash. Let's look at how the media professionals covered this tragic event, this act of domestic terrorism. Here is MSNBC.
In which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, to emphasize what you just emphasized, we don't know any of the full details of this. We don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea.
Yeah, pretty sure we knew immediately it wasn't that. Charlie Kurk supporters don't go around shooting their guns in celebration like they're attending some wedding in Iraq. And of course, MSNBC had to engage in victim blaming by calling Charlie divisive.
Charlie Kurk is a divisive figure, polarizing, lightning rod, whatever term you want to use. Why?
Well, he's one of MAGA's most prominent voices online. He hosts a near daily podcast.
But that was just stupid. What I'm about to play you is straight out depraved, disgusting commentary. This is Matthew Dowd again on MSNBC, not long after Charlie was shot.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
That was so vile, so hateful and frankly deranged and dangerous that even MSNBC had to take some action, and they've sacked Matthew Dowd, but it's MSNBC. He may be back before the end of the month. And the asinine commentary wasn't restricted to commentators on MSNBC. Governors joined in. Here is the rotund governor of crime-riddled Illinois, blaming President Trump, the man Charlie Kurk worked tirelessly to re-elect. Governor Pritzker blames Donald Trump for fomenting political violence.
Political violence, unfortunately, has been ratcheting up in this country. We saw the shootings, the killings in Minnesota. We've seen other political violence occur in other states. And I would just say it's got to stop. And I think there are people who are fomenting it in this country. I think the president's rhetoric often foments it.
Did that nincompoop really mention the Minnesota shooter, the trans-identified lunatic who shot children in a Catholic school and wanted to kill Donald Trump? Yeah, it's Trump who was almost killed by an assassin's bullet who is to blame for leftist violence, not these lefties losing it.
He insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
Punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there, pulling up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And that's it from me. I'll see you Sunday morning for Outsiders. The media show is up next.